Hello everyone, and welcome to the live stream. A little bit later than planned, but let's start where we usually start. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a Boeing 737 pilot and a member of PMDG's tech team. So, the 737 has finally been released for Microsoft Flight Simulator, the 800 that is. I hope that you guys are all enjoying it, and I hope that many of you had their chance already to have a first look at the airplane. For those of you who didn't, I am sure that you will have the chances very soon. So, for now, let's check out the 800 on a ride from Brisbane towards Sydney. I thought I'd do something a little bit different for today, and here we go. So I'm going to put you guys the operational flight plan in the comments of the video below, so that you can have a look if you like to. And here you are. Alright, so then, let's have a look at our shiny new airplane. Here it is. Alright, so, had a couple of problems starting the simulator up, as you guys surely saw, but we're finally here, we finally got it running, so let's see how far we can get with it. I'm seriously hoping I'm not going to have another crash to desktop, but Microsoft announced that they have found a fix to the crashes that people encountered with the NT-DLL, so I thought, well, I might as well just turn the online services on again and see where this is going. Now, if it crashes to desktop once again, then you can imagine what has happened, but for now we'll just have to hope that everything is going to go good. After all, we know Microsoft Flight Simulator, everything can happen. If anybody of you is into gambling games, then most likely this is what you are absolutely up to. Anyway, here we are in the Qantas 737 once again. I thought I have to do some real-life flying today, so in the afternoon I have a flight to Palma de Mallorca, and therefore I don't have eternal time today, only until 12 UTC, but nonetheless I just hope that we'll get this flight done with as smoothly as possible. And I thought, if I have to fly at this time of the day, I might as well just start the a flight in Australia. So, GSX unfortunately is not really configured for the 800, and I had some issues trying to configure it. Basically, whenever I made a configuration, saved it, and then restarted my simulator, the position of the doors and everything would be lost again. So for GSX we're only going to use it for pushback today, and not for the boarding and stuff, because it is just as buggy as it used to be all the time. So we've got to use the standard PMDG menu for that, and basically our airplane is already pre-boarded, so let's just quickly put in the most important stuff. So we'll take fuel, 6.3 tons, which should be ample of fuel to get us towards Sydney and to the alternate if needed, which I seriously hope we won't have to today. And we're going to take 58.7 tons of zero fuel weight, which is the typical weight for a 737-800. Nav data out of date. Yep, of course, I forgot to update it. Well, it happens. We're going from YBBN to YSSY. No route? Oh no. Okay, well, then manual route input it is. So you guys, you can see where this is going, huh? Once you need to do everything fast, and then nothing works at all. No, I'm just joking. Things are going to work today. I'm absolutely sure about it. And after all, this is a short route, so it's quickly typed in. We're going from Hotel 91 towards Corky. And then Hotel 12 to Bori. From there on, landing runway 16 they say today. So that's probably going to be interesting. But we'll see where this is going to go. Now, something I really like about flying for Qantas, apparently they're using cost index 40. And I really like those high cost indexes. Even though when I got back to work, they looked at me rather strange for saying like, I don't like our cost index anymore, can we do something higher? But well, can't get it all, huh? Right, so 278 at 47 for the winds, and the transition altitude, I have absolutely no idea. Let's get out Navigraph and have a look. I still don't have Navigraph inside my simulator though, because it was... it did cause crashes in the past, and I wanted to eliminate as many possible causes of crashes to desktop as I possibly could before doing this flight. So let's see how well I succeeded or not. I do have to say, by the way, I find the Qantas configuration really interesting. Like, you have the head-up display, but you have the old MCP installed. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I guess they will know why. What a strange feeling all of a sudden to have a QNH different than standard again after flying the default things for the last, don't know, week or so. Actually, after that week when I got to do my first flight in the real plane again, I was like, the ATIS reports 1013, the ATIS reports something like 1020, so yeah, we'll use 1013 instead. The captain looked at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? Well, too much Flight Simulator. In the end, we had a good laugh about it when we talked about where that came from and why it happened. Alright, so, Crosswind. Some QF planes have the new MCP with the HUD. That's very good to know. By the way, nice to see you here, Crosswind. It's certainly been a while since we met last time. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the route check real quick, because I want to get going. So we're going from Yankee Bravo Bravo November to Yankee Sierra Sierra Yankee as the Quebec Fox Alpha 541. Routing is leading us via Sonic, Hotel 91 Corky, Hotel 12 Bari to Sydney, and that's coming with a ground distance of 436 versus 433. 3.6 remaining, and we have a required reserve fuel of 2.5, which gives us around about 25 minutes extra fuel. And the 737-800, 5 minutes flight time is 200 kilograms, so that's how you can determine how much fuel you will have or not. So, time UTC is 0106. I've just set it to something daylight because in Australia it's actually dark already at this time, at least on the eastern coast. Altimeter 1022, reading 20 feet. The MFRA is going to be 1020. Flight directors are on with a miner on the master, and the standby instruments are set. Left sea takeoff, runway 1 right, flaps 5, noise 2, and he also straight at 25 miles, leading us out over mostly flat terrain. So if we climb to an altitude of, let's say, 3,000 feet, that's mostly over the water, that's going to keep us safe. MSA is 2,100 in that sector. Emergencies, as briefed in the crew room. For the pushback, it's going to be with the nose facing to either the left or right hand side. Probably to the right hand side. If we have a look at... actually, no, to the left hand side here. So, I'm going to push somewhere into here, I guess. Or somewhere out here. I have no clue where GSX is going to push us with a configuration like this. But... we'll see about it, and then we'll somehow find our way out. It somewhat hurts saying that, but there was no configuration file available for the airport, and well. Anyway, for the taxi, standard taxi out, over there's our runway, and our departure is a fairly easy one. Let's briefly go over it in the navigation display. So, we have the Sonic 1 departure plate, 10-3 Delta, 26th June, transition 10,000 versus 10,001, speed 250 below 100. By the way, this is new. In the 800, you can just type 250 below 100 over the speed restriction here, and it's going to take it anyway. So that's really nice. Previous versions couldn't do that, and in the real one, we just do it all the time. Right, for the routing then, it's going to be straight at on 016 to 600 feet, right turn, direct ISRIP, which is an overfly waypoint, as we can see in here as well. Then right into Lumdy, max 240 knots until Lumdy above 5,000 feet, right hand turn, direct to MAFP above 8,000, then 198, 20 miles to Sonic, which is what we have in here. I might do a little bit of hand flying, and apart from that, I have nothing special, so if you have nothing to add, then let's start with the safety inspection checklist, and before start checklist down to the line. Services trucks, checked. Maintenance status, checked. Battery on. Electric hydraulic pumps on. Landing gear lever down. Ship's library checked. IRS mode selectors, nav, gear pins, 1 of 3 removed. Light test, we'll pretend that's checked. Oxygen test 100%. Yaw damper on. Nav transfer display switch is normal and auto. Fuel is 6,100 and a bit required. Let's see, 6154, and with 6.3 on board with 4 pumps on. Cabin utility IV galley power on. Emergency exit lights armed. Fast melts on. Window heat on. Air conditioning and pressurization. PAX auto bleeds on set. Press mode selector auto. Instruments are cross-checked. Auto brakes RTO. Hydraulics, make sure to check the brake accumulator, the system display, and your hydraulics panel. Checked. Speed brake. Down detent. Parking brake set. Step and cutoff switch is normal. Wheel by fire warning checked. Radius, radar, and transponder set and standby. Rudder and aileron trims 3 and 0. Takeoff briefing is discussed. PA complete. And holding an FMC CDU. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of playing around with our virtual performance tool once again. So we finally have our 737-800, so that means we can use the virtual performance tool to its fullest. So let's go ahead and do just that. So here it is, virtual performance tool. So for our departure we take YBBN, Brisbane, runway 1 right. We'll take, let's see if I can find any sensible intersection here on the airport chart. Something like Alpha 7 should work out well, I guess. Alpha 7 is good. It is a dry runway. Wind 030 at 6. Temperature 13 and 1022. Oh boy, winter is coming once again. Winter is coming. That's a pity. I'm still enjoying the last nice weather over here. Of course, for Sydney we are planning 16 right. Dry runway. And calm winds. Also 13 on 1024. So, weight and balance. That's where things are getting interesting now. So, we'll check wind at 21 Alpha and portable water we have on board. So, passengers, we'll use virtual dispatcher and synchronize with SimBrief. So here we are, 162 passengers and 3 interns. So let's actually load that in our airplane. So that is basically a full cabin. 148 and 12, 160 passengers then. And for the cargo, we'll have 2333. Right, so we're going to split that 1333 in the front and 1000 in the back. Alright, so we'll just sign that one.
Thank you, Captain.
And it actually says that we're out of trim. How can we be out of trim for that? Ah, of course. 1333 and 1000. Now we're in trim. And the zero fuel weight is 58 tons versus 58.7. But we were booked rather full, so that makes sense. And that's 64.4 versus 64.2. Just about in limits. Alright, so 1 right, Alpha 7, dry, and 030 at 6. 22k takeoff at 44 degrees. Oh, and our plane doesn't have 22k. Okay, so Qantas doesn't have those. Then we'll have to take it at 24. Recalculate. So 24k, 58 degrees. We can certainly do that. Give me takeoff in 1, 88.0 versus 88.8. That's close enough. Flaps 5, center of gravity is going to be 18.3. Which results in trim of 5.8 units. Alright, we have takeoff speeds 41, 41, 44, and those are all within 1 knot of the FMC speeds, so we can actually use the FMC speeds for those. Alright, and 5.8 units of trim, 144 into the MCP, and we can set our runway heading as well while we're looking at it. 016, 016, and 016. Alright, perfect. Let's complete the checklist then. FMC CDU set, M1 and IS bucks, we have automatic, reduced 24k, speeds 40, 41, 44. Set, step gen, 5.8 units set, performance weight and balance, sign send, phones off, EFB, airplane mode stowed, flight windows and cockpit door, locked, holding at doors. So, time to start up our APU, and then we'll hopefully be going pretty soon. In the meantime, let's by the way also get our GSX connected, because they always take a little while. So, prepare for pushback and departure. And we're gonna take handling by, I guess, shitport works. By the way, if you're wondering where that name comes from, they were pretty slow handling my airline, so that's why we very quickly went ahead and just kept calling them shitport instead of Swissport. MG King, where can you read the trim value? Let me quickly pull that one up again. So, in the virtual performance tool over here, it says trim 6.25. And then if that is within like 0.25 units of the FMC, this one says 5.9, so it's just about there. But keep in mind we have a slightly different weight and balance configuration in our aircraft. So that's why I'm just using this one from the FMC here. So, no ATC online unfortunately, but we'll manage. Okay, so time to close the doors and then we go. Close, close, ground services. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you in a second. APU is on, ground power can go, and everything here is disconnected. Okay, perfect. So, before start checks below the line, air complex off, anti-collision light on, parking brake set, transponder alt off, before start checklist complete. Then, I have no clue where GSX is gonna push us, so let's see, logical would be nose to the left, so let's give it a try. Let's just give it a try and see where we are going to go. FL1P, is there a weather radar function? No, not yet, because PMDG is waiting for the official... What's it doing? My nose gear! Release parking brakes, please. Good job, GSX. But at least it says release parking brakes, please, so... Brakes are off. Why are my wheels turning? Oh boy, GSX is still such a buggy mess. So, ground speed 13. I doubt it. Attitude reset. Yep. So, where can I look that you guys don't see the box? I can't look anywhere so that you don't see the box. Because that's what streamers typically do when something like that happens, but I don't even know where to look at. No, come on, just start an engine. Come on, let's have a very close look at our engine startup, shall we? Okay, we have N2, oil pressure, N1. I wonder if SimToolkit Pro is gonna recognize this. Please set parking brakes.
conditions for a good engine start.
Uh-oh. 20 knots ground speed, but yeah, stationary. What is GSX doing? Come on, just disconnect. Please, just go. Just go.
Unlocking gear.
Alright, the first click you just heard was the voice recorder switch returning to auto, up here, and the second was the engine start switch. This looks better. Okay, start engine number 1. Oh boy, always the same experience with GSX, isn't it? Yeah, Bazooka joke. Better move the tailskid to the nose. You name it. And Neil, next video, why I uninstalled GSX again. Yeah, it would probably be about time. I'm actually thinking about a video like, so what does actually work and what doesn't in GSX? If I ever happen to find the time.
Right is clear.
So why is the attitude reset light coming on now? I guess we probably have to reset it actually. And the auto brake disarm also got messed over. Let's do a full check of our panel again. I have a feeling GSX just don't know. Probably I guess it confused the air ground system. But looks like most is still working in here. Alright, static cutout, we have 2 good engine starts. Let's take it from there. Let's just take it from there. So, flight control check, full up, full down, full left, full right, and the rudders, full left, full right. So, let's go. B4, taxi checklist. Generators on, APU off, start switches continuous. Propit on, anti-ice off, air conditioning, PAX auto bleeds on, isolation mode, auto. Flaps, 5 required, 5 selected, green light, step trim, 5-9 required set. Start levers idly turned, flight controls checked, recall checked, before taxi checklist complete. Brisbane traffic runners 541, taxi auto point, runway 1 right. Brake is off, config. Okay, so we're going out to the left here, join the parallel taxiway and then taxi Alpha 7. Man, that's been an experience again. Aircraft, why are you not moving? No, something's still blocking me from moving. Did it glue my airplane to the ground now? Or what did it do? Chocks are removed. Pushback option, nothing connected. Let's try that once more. Anything in GSX still open? No. Let's see if I can just force it to roll. I have a guess. Let's put the auto brake off. I guess the whole acceleration and deceleration and everything in GSX probably triggered the auto brake to go into RTO mode. But let's see if that actually happened. Can we taxi now? No? Okay. GSX. Restart Throttle. Let's see if that was the case. Parking brake is definitely off. Another try. There doesn't seem to be an active pause. Just turn it on and off again. Okay. Once in the past I could solve it by going into slew mode and then back out of it. Let's see if that still works. So, slew mode on, slew mode off. Let's see. Still nothing. But why? What is happening now? Let's see once more. The only options in PMDG that could prevent this would be the chocks, which are removed. Let's set them again and remove them again. Or the pushback option. But there is no chock connected. Maybe if I connect it and disconnect it again, maybe that works. Let's try. But those are, as far as I'm aware, the only options. Well, unless GSX deflated my tires. That could be a case, of course. Let's see. Yep, tire failure. Thank you, GSX. Very good job. And it's just failing again. But why? Here all. It's just failing again. But why? Service all systems. Please don't tell me GSX broke it. Yeah, the tires are just failing again and again. Is there anything in the options? No, they're even turned off. Oh boy. GSX, thank you. Now, how can I solve this? Any ideas, guys? Replace tires, maybe that helps. Oh. Maybe I have to deflate it, or maybe I have to replace it quickly in the meantime. Let's give that a try. Clear. Or replace. Nope. Replace brakes as well. Come on. This gotta be a joke, right? Oh, it's off. Let's see. Can we go somewhere? Can we get somewhere? Yes, it moves! Woo! Alright, no comment on that. Let's just get going as quickly as possible. And Mark Cunningham, it was actually your suggestion that fixed it. Thank you so much. I had to release the brakes and then I could release it. And then I could replace the tires. Probably an issue with the PMDG then. I'm going to investigate that. Because that definitely looks like something PMDG internal. So I will look over that again after the live stream. And I'll put it in the bug tracker if it's really a PMDG issue. I guess what probably happened then is GSX broke the tires with all its crazy speeds that we saw on the ground speed indicator. And once the tires were broken, we probably then ran into a PMDG bug. But I'm going to investigate that. If it's an issue with PMDG, it's surely going to be solved quickly. If it's an issue with GSX, well, probably not too much. Anyway, let's turn back to the bright side of life and do the before takeoff checklist down to the line. So, config. Checked, flaps, 5, green light, step trim, 5.9, set. Takeoff briefing. This is going to be a left seat takeoff. On runway 1 right, flaps 5, noise abatement 2, and the takeoff speeds are going to be 140, 141, 144. Step trim 5.9 and yaws it straight at 25 miles, climbing to an altitude of 3,000 feet, which is safe. in the area. The MSA is 2,100 feet. Finally, for the standard SID, it's a right turn out, climbing initially 5,000 feet, speed restriction 240 knots and not more. And that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions? Okay, then holding at the cabin. So let's get a head-up display back down. By the way, guys, I know that a lot of you have asked me to make a tutorial on the heads-up display, and that is something that's in the works right now. Finally, a very good friend has sent me some very good documentation on the HUD that I can use to prepare a tutorial for you, but it is going to take maybe a week or two until I actually have it ready, because I have to read that stuff up myself, first of all. Then I have to talk to a couple of pilots who are actually using the head-up display in the 737, and only then I will publish a video, because you guys know this channel by now. If I do a video, I want to do it right. So it's gonna take a little while, but eventually we'll get there and we'll get a tutorial for the head-up display coming. And because the question just comes up in the chat, no, in real life, at least in my airline, we don't have a head-up display. So we don't have it fitted. Alright, there's no ATC online over here, so let's go ahead. Brisbane traffic, 541, takeoff from A01 right. And below the line. MCP, set, transponder, TARAS, strobe lights on, landing lights on, before takeoff checklist complete. And guys, keep writing your questions in the comments. I'm going to get back to them once we're actually in cruise flight. How close did I get? Did I? No, I did not smash the light pole. That's good. Alright, so... timing. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. Checked.
V1. Rotate. Positive reincline.
You're up. The plane is so easy to rotate with the HUD, really. I'm gonna miss that one when I'm flying later today, the real one. Okay, back up. Flaps 1. And flaps up. Command A. Alright, and since there is no ATC on now, let's go up all the way to the cruise level, 380. Flaps up, no lights. Set standard. VNAV. Passing 32, climbing 380 after takeoff checklist. Okay, and we can go full climb thrust as well. So, after takeoff checks, air condition and pressurization 2.0, slightly climbing, set. Altimeters, standard, passing 4.3, climbing 380. After takeoff checklist complete. Absolutely beautiful, the water, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Seaman, which route am I going to find real life today? To Palma de Mallorca, but I can't say from where because that would pretty much make it too easy to figure out which airline I'm working for. And since my airline still says that they don't encourage social media usage, I basically have to keep all of that private. Sorry. And the 10 checks. Fuel is balanced with 4 pumps, tail lights. Off, APU off, air condition and pressurization 4.2, climbing and set. Fast modes auto, recall checked, 1 to 1.5. Nope, that one. Monitoring. 10 checks complete. I just can't get enough of this. Sorry guys, I'll be back in the flight deck in a moment. No. Ah, that's better. Even better. That's best. Do we have something from behind the wing? Yes, we do. Oh boy, that's quite a bit of wing flex there. Nice to see the simulator back on satellite scenery though. Apparently Asobo posted that they would have a fix for the crash to desktop issues, even though I don't really trust them 100%, but I did try it. So basically what they said is update your Windows, reboot your computer, enjoy. Sounds a bit easy for something that was definitely a server issue, but probably they fixed the server side but didn't want to admit it, and therefore they just said, yeah guys, you can just fix it by going into your, by doing a Windows update and rebooting. Sure enough, but if it works, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Beautiful airplane, isn't it? Really beautiful airplane. Parabas, thank you very much for the donation of €2. That's very much appreciated, really. Alright, so back into the flight deck. Got the sun on the FO side here, so this is probably what I would do. And if the sun was lower than the sunshade, then just take your normal checklist and put it in the window as well. You guys would be surprised what kind of stuff sometimes is put into the windows. Like, back in the good old days, the en route chart was a very popular sunshade. Nowadays, you have the normal checklist. Well, I've seen somebody put their code there. Alright, so we're on our way to Sydney. Let's see if I can answer a couple of your questions now. So, Turkish 777, can I ask you something about the flight director? Of course you can. Just post your question here and I'll get back to it. So, Neil, why did it take Microsoft so long to admit there was a problem? I really don't know. Probably they just didn't want to admit that they ruined the weekend for like 6 million active Microsoft Flight Simulator users. Alpha Tango, yes, the 777 is scheduled to come out before the 747. Niklas, yeah, well, I forgot to update the IRAC before this flight, but I posted a video on how you can do it manually a short while ago when the 600 was released. I believe it's called something like how to update the IRAC in the PMDG 737-600. Just look for that on my channel and you'll find the information how to update it manually. Gene Face, is there a cabin? Yes, there is. I'm gonna have a video up on the cabin probably tomorrow, so I'll not go over it too much right now, but tomorrow you'll have that video. Then Ben, how do I know if the cabin is ready or not for departure in real life? The way we do it is on the checklist. When we reach the point cabin, we press the attendant call button, and then the number 1 is going to go through the cabin and check that everybody got their seatbelts on properly, that all the sunshades are up, the tray tables are stowed and everything. When that is the case, the number 1 is going to give us a signal in the cockpit, and that's our signal then that the cabin is ready, and that will complete the before takeoff checklist down to the line as well, which is our indication that the aircraft is fully up and ready for departure. Cloud in action, I'm thinking of visiting Mallorca. Can you recommend a specific hotel, place, or region for vacation under palms? Well, I like the Bay of Alcudia very much. You got, the water is not very heavy, so pretty clean water over there. The beach only goes deep very, very slowly, so you can find just the right depth that you are going to enjoy in the water, and overall it's just a very beautiful place. That's my opinion on Mallorca. Of course, if you're a party guy, you're rather going to go to Palma or to the Ballermann. But that's my personal favorite. And Tom asked which route we are flying today. We are going from Brisbane towards Sydney. Then Philip, when is the giveaway? To be totally honest, I haven't planned one, but let's see, maybe I can find a couple of sponsors for future videos so that we can do some. But I'll have to try and find out. Ufran, can we possibly get a VC in your Discord? What do you mean by VC? I'm not an expert on Discord, so might need some help from you there. Then, Infineon Evok. Just a question. When and how do you know to buck up after takeoff, and how far do you buck up? So, the phrase buck up basically comes from setting the speed buck to the flaps up position. So you're going to turn it all the way to the flaps up speed. And when to do it depends on the airport where you are flying and the noise abatement procedure you are flying. If you're flying noise abatement procedure number 1, you're going to buck up 3,000 feet above the departure airfield elevation. And if you're flying noise abatement number 2, you're bugging up 1,000 feet above the departure elevation. And because the world would be too easy if that was all, there is a sort of a hybrid procedure where you are bugging up 1,500 feet above the departure elevation, which is, for example, in use in all of Germany or in Ireland and places like these. And to make things even more funny, some places like Barcelona have their own procedures where you would bug up, for example, at 3,500 feet. Overall, I can very much recommend the website of Blackbox 711, who has airfield briefings on his website where he states the noise abatement procedure that you are supposed to fly according to his airline. So I can very much recommend that. I'm using that website myself for airports that I'm not familiar with. Then Finbar, how much is the 737-800? It's $69.99. Which is a reduced price, by the way, because it's still in... which is a reduced price because it is still in early adopter phase. So stuff like the EFB is not yet installed on the plane. And once that is installed, the price is going to go up to $74.99. And I know that some of you are going to ask, and the obvious answer is, unfortunately, there is no discount if you own a previous PMDG 737. But I have to guess. But if I need to guess, I would say that the reason there is no discount is because the 700 was sold below its manufacturing cost. So I'm guessing that the actual cost to develop the 737 was more expensive than what PMDG earned from the 700 release. And therefore let's put it that way. If we take their P3D pricing model, then the 700 will probably have been something like $120, and then you would have gotten the 800 for maybe $40, adding up to 160. Now, in MSFS, PMDG chose a different model because, and I repeat, I'm guessing here, but probably because they know that most people want the 7 and the 800, and some people want the 600, some want the 900, but maybe some only want the 900 and not the others. So it sort of gives users a little bit more of a choice. And earlier today I read a discussion in the forums where people complained that at some point in the past Robert said that the MSFS versions would be cheaper than the P3D versions. And that is no longer the case if somebody wants to buy all the versions. And yeah, that is correct. However, for the fun of it, I did some calculations and I took inflation into account as well. And if I'm taking the price of the P3D 737s, which added up to $183 and added inflation from 2019 when they were released until 2022, we end up somewhere around $230. So it turns out that in the end, the 737 for Microsoft Flight Simulator is slightly more expensive, inflation accounted, than the 737 for P3D. However, that is if you want to buy all the versions. So if somebody wants only the 7 and 800 or only the 8 and 900 or maybe only the 600, then it will turn out cheaper. But as said, everything, all the statements are made in regards to why a PMDG aircraft might cost what it costs. That is all speculations. I'm not involved in any internals that would give the actual reasons for the pricing. But then again, that is my personal speculation. And Alex, everything is calculated taking inflation into consideration except our salaries. Yep, you name it. Unfortunately, but that's what it is. Alright, Oran, are there any changes between the 700 and the 800 except for the length of the aircraft? Yes, there are. I'm doing a whole separate video series about it. The very short answer is the air conditioning system is different. So it's not just a different panel, but also the internals, and all of those are modeled correctly by PMDG. The flight model is different because the 800 is a lot more slippery than the 700, and also it got the elevator deadband, and it is the most slippery of the 737 NG series. So the 900 actually is less slippery than the 800 is. The 800 apparently just to be on that very unsweet spot there. Alright, what else did I want to say about this? Yeah, for the rest of it, you're gonna get the videos, so have a look at those once they are out. So, Betty Home 1991. How often do you have fun with cabin crews? I'm replacing the word stewardesses here. Well, the honest answer is very often, but not the kind of fun that you're thinking about right now, because I do have a girlfriend and I'm not gonna swap her. Nonetheless, we still have a couple of very nice cabin crews, and sure enough, we sometimes go to the hotel bar after work and stuff like that, but not in the sense that you are thinking right now. Dafsar 108, have you been to Australia in real life? Unfortunately not. I'm really hoping to get there one day, but not yet. Squawk 7600. Is PMDG waiting on software update 10 for the EFB, or is there still no time frame? I've released a video about it a while ago, and I've also basically Robert gave a time frame in the release announcement, or in the pre-release announcement of the 800, and he said it's estimated to go into beta testing mid next month, and he hopes that the beta is not going to take very long. CK UK Mail. I don't know, got a good discount. It was 4.9 million, I bought it at 2.9 on their website pre-release price. Yep, honestly those pre-release prices are something that I really like. They just have to set their shop page up and everything, so PMDG just goes on and sells the thing at like $10 million. And at one point in the past it actually used to happen that somebody bought it for like, I believe it was $70 million back then, and I think it was the 747. And somebody actually bought it without looking at it. Luckily for him, his bank noticed that he was about to spend a huge amount of money and cancelled the transaction. But that surely would have been very funny to see what would have happened if his bank didn't do that. An American 900 should be cheaper in your opinion, or discount if you get the 800. I believe Robert said in the past that the 900 is going to be something like $50 US, but then again he said the same for the 600 and it came out at 35, so I wouldn't rely on those prices. But the 900 will be cheaper than the 800. Keep in mind the 800 is coming in 8 different versions, so you have the passenger, the Boeing Business Jet 2, the Boeing Converted Freighter and the BDSF, all of them with blended winglets and split scimitar winglets. But for the 900, as far as I know, it's going to be the 900 and the 900ER, both with blended and split scimitar winglets. So that's only 4 versions, so it will be cheaper than the 800, but I believe in the past you said something like $50 or $60, but we'll have to see how much it's actually going to be then. So, Turkish 777, I want to know how the manual flight director works. I already know how the one with autopilot works, but I want to know how the manual one works. How does it fly? Alright, so I guess what you're talking about is how the flight director is giving guidance to you when the autopilot is not engaged. And the answer is very simple. It's actually the very same as if the autopilot was on. Because the way the system works is basically the autopilot is just a very dumb couple of servos which are moving your control column to follow the flight director. So the flight director is calculating everything that the airplane has to do, and then the autopilot is simply following the flight director. So if you're flying manual, the flight director is still doing the very same thing that it would with the autopilot on, but then it is simply up to the pilot to actually make those control inputs. And that's the whole story behind it. At some point in the future I am going to make a more detailed video about how the autoflight director system actually works, so when that video comes out you're going to get all the details. Neil, Boeing 737s are like Pokemon, gotta get them all. Do me a favor though, don't throw any white and red ball against the 737 and scream Pokeball go. Believe me, the airline won't be happy and you will probably not fly. There has been a case in the past where somebody in Asia thought that it would bring them luck if they threw a coin in an engine. You know, there are, in some countries, there are traditions to throw coins into rivers or into lakes to bring you luck. And somebody thought the same would work if you threw a coin in an aircraft engine. The result is, since nobody knew exactly how many coins have been thrown in, the airplane was grounded and the engine had to be inspected completely. So, just imagine, the plane had to be grounded for it and it took a day to inspect the whole engine to make sure there was no coin anybody where it wasn't supposed to be. And the only place where coins are supposed to be is in the pockets of the wallet of the airline's managers. So, Geoff, will we get a 737-900ER? Yes, absolutely. Captain Riot, I hope they will work on hydraulics in the 777. You can hear it when they deploy flaps and when chilling on the ground. But do you hear it from the cockpit then? Because, sure enough, in no airliner that I'm aware of, you actually hear the hydraulics in the cockpit. You can hear them in the cabin when you're sitting next to the flaps and stuff like that. But in the cockpit? No. At least not in my experience. Of course I haven't flown a 777, so it might be different in it. But, I really don't know. Higgin, when will the 777 be out for beta testing? I really don't know. I know that PMDG laid a good part of the foundation for the 777 and the 747 and the MAX development with the 737, which is part of the reason why it took so long to get the 700 out in first place. But I really don't know how long it's going to take for the development of the 777 to get it into a state where it would be ready for beta testing. I have no idea. Power Baldwin purchased the 800 today. Absolutely beautiful aircraft. First of all, thank you. I'm going to forward that to the developers. Question. I noticed a massive FPS drop when in the cockpit looking back towards the cabin. Any idea why that would be? So like this, you say. When you load an airplane for the very first time in your simulator, then the first time the simulator has to load everything, your frame rates are going to be greatly reduced. But usually when you look into that area like 2 or 3 times and thereafter you're looking around again like I do right now, so then that FPS drop is no longer apparent. So you can see right now when I'm looking around, since I have looked at it earlier, the FPS are the very same that they are in any other direction. So, cloud action, how much longer to the top of descent? Well, it's coming up there at about 100 and a bit miles, so 14 minutes to our top of descent. TK UK Mail. Do you ever touch the fuselage before boarding, like a friendly pet? Well, let's put it that way. I do occasionally smash my head into it when I'm going in and out of the wheel wells. Does that count? JTFF mods, could I talk a little bit more about the performance differences between the 6, 7, 8, 9? For example, the 900 or 800, can they make the same airports as the 600? Well, let's put it that way. If you do a proper performance calculation, then the planes are going to behave the same on takeoff and landing. But when you're going full thrust, of course the smaller versions are going to climb faster. However, we have to take into account that we have different engine ratings on the different models. So for example, on this one, we've got the 26K engine installed. Now, on the 600 we have a 22K engine. And that is approximately 20% less thrust than what we can get on the 26K engine over here. However, for takeoff performance itself, of course, a 600 can get off a shorter runway better than a 900. So you would not be able to fly a fully loaded 800 out of Santos Dumont, for example, with their roughly 1,400 meters runway, while a fully loaded 600 on the other end side might very well be possible. Overall though, the 800 is capable of going into some very small runways. Just look at what some low-cost carriers are doing around Europe. So, something that comes to my mind here is London's Southend Airport. That's got something around maybe 1,700, 1,800 meters runway or so. And some airlines are flying 737-800s from there to the Canary Islands. So, the 800 still is a very good performer in terms of short runways. Overall, the rate of climb, however, is not going to be as good. So in the 600, if you're going all the way up to level 410, you might still get a rate of climb of about 1,500 feet a minute above level 300. In the 800, you can be happy about 1,000 feet a minute. So that's where it really makes a difference at higher altitudes. Plasma Fire, when will the 800 be on Xbox? I apologize, I don't know. Then, Cimarron. Why do some operators call gear up first and then positive rate and others positive rate and then gear up? Honestly, that really comes down to the operator, and my airline is an airline that calls gear up and thereafter positive rate. And the reason for that is that it necessitates both pilots to check that we actually have a positive rate of climb. Because the PF cannot just blindly rely on the PM. So the argument goes like this. With the PM calling positive rate, the PF would very easily just say gear up without even looking at the altimeter. So it would sort of become a rhyming response. And then it might happen that the landing gear lever might be retracted while the airplane is still on the ground. So that's why we call gear up first. So the PF has to check on his PFD that you actually have a positive rate on the altimeter. Then he calls gear up, and then the PM has to look at his altimeter and confirm the positive rate, and then call positive rate, and only then move the gear lever. But obviously you could say, so the PM might just say positive rate anytime the PF calls gear up, and that is a valid argument. I tend to say there is no right and no wrong solution to this. So it just comes down to what some airlines say. Others, for example, don't say positive rate at all, but they say positive climb, because rate might imply that the vertical speed indicator gives you a positive rate, while actually you have to check on the altimeter that you have a positive rate. So there are several different philosophies for this, and all of them kinda work and kinda don't work. So you can find good and bad things on all of them. Then, Deep Reza, is the 737 of PMDG a study level aircraft and used professionally? Is it study level? For sure. I tend to say it is actually the most complex and most sophisticated simulation of any airliner at all at the moment in MSFS. And yes, I have tried the others. Is it used professionally? I don't know. Beluga, is VNAV important for takeoff? What's the method? I've done a separate video on the VNAV takeoff. I highly suggest a look at that. Stick Harold Andreasen, can I say something about the vertical modes in the MFD and how it works? Could you please clarify what exactly you mean? MFD in the 737 is... I guess you mean this one. That's actually called navigation display, not multifunction display, because it is not designed as a multifunction display. Of course you can do this, but you don't have system displays like you have, for example, in the ICAS of a 777. German flight sim is PMDG working on the weather radar, and do they plan to update the aircraft with software update 10, or will it take longer? Once software update 10 is out, PMDG is going to start working on the weather radar. So we'll have to see the release version first, and then the then PMDG is going to start working on it. Then Captain Wright, according to your experience, is the 800 able to fly non-stop for 5,000 kilometers? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Of course, it may depend on... payload and everything, but the basic aircraft can certainly do it. Alright, I'll have to start approach preparation a little bit right now. Let's continue talking about your questions afterwards. Keep them coming in the chat, and I'll try to answer as many as possible. And Niklas, I'm absolutely looking forward to the 777 as well. It's a very, very nice plane. Right, in the meantime though, there is no air traffic control online in Sydney right now, so... which is kind of a pity. I hope that at this time of the day I would find someone there, but I guess I'm probably running a little bit too late for that. Anyway, I'm just checking flight radar 24, the landing on 16 right, so we are actually getting that approach over the city that some of you have asked for when I did the preview video down in Sydney, where I landed on runway 34 left. Data link config invalid. Okay. Yeah, I think I haven't actually set it up yet since I installed the public release version of the 800. Well, then we'll just have to hand type that stuff in. So let's see, 310-198 at 24. Then 193818, and finally 142 at 12. Oh, contact me. So there is air traffic control online. Very nice. 130.9.
Climbing flight level 370.
Climb 494, Melbourne Center, good day, climb flight level 330.
Melbourne Center, good evening, Qantas 541, flight level 380 in Mount Sanat.
Climb flight level 330 and we'll request amended flight level 370, Qantas 494.
Qantas 494, climb flight level 370.
Climb flight level 370, Qantas 494, thanks.
Set up, okay with these models, right here.
Qantas 541, Melbourne Center, good day, break, Alpha Lima Echo, Melbourne Center, good day.
Alright, let's have a quick look at our arrival then. As far as I can see, it's pretty much going straight in.
The 88 Melbourne
Yep,
Center.
it is. So, after ovals, vectors to Erden, and then from Erden we start the approach. Max 185 is in already. And let's see, we're gonna burn 600 kilos, giving us a landing weight of 61.2. But let's actually run a full performance calculation on this, because I don't want to take guessing games at an airport that I'm not familiar with. So Sydney 16 right, 2.5, dry, wind 210 at 8, and we have 13 degrees 1024 still. We'll calculate both, but let's see, landing weight 61.2 we set. So we saved a little bit of fuel, which kind of makes sense since we had a lower weight as well. Right, flap 30, 2093 meters. Now that looks quite alright. Just trying to get the charts up on your screen as well. I realized just now that you didn't even see the charts on our departure, so I apologize for that.
Plus 108, sorry, I request amended cruise final 370.
But we'll be there in a second.
498, climb flight level 370.
370, plus 108.
Yeah, that's the Bari arrival. We're looking at the approach for runway 16 right. Too many charts over here. That's not what we're looking for. Parking the... Yeah, up here is where we're gonna park. And an airport chart, of course. So let's see, 16 right for Cape Bravo 7. That looks like about 2,000 meters-ish. A little bit less. So either Bravo 7 or Bravo 8. Let's see, 2,000 meters-ish, so auto brake 3, flaps 30 is going to get us out. And it's going to be the last flight of the day for the airplane, so the brake cooling of 44 minutes here is not a problem. So flaps 30, auto brakes 3, and that should get us out at the exit. If all else fails, we can still overbrake it, even at max manual. We are not in the fuse plug melt zone, so that's not going to be much of an issue. Bravo itself, ILS 16 right. They're probably going to make it one of their visual approaches once again, but we are well familiar with those by now. So course is 155 and 155. And the frequency is 109.5. I love it. Somehow every airport uses 109.5 for some ILS. That's really like the standard frequency. You have no idea what you should tune, just tune 109.5. Chances are you are going to receive something. Wherever it may take you. And to minimums of 210. Alright, perfect. So, threats for the arrival. I don't see any, if I'm honest. So, then we have 250 below 100, forecast page is in, fixed rings filled out, and for the arrival we'll find the Bari arrival into Melbourne. And that gives us something like, oops, this. So, from Bury to Vasra above 8,000, and from there we're going on towards Biro below 9,000, Ovils, and
903, descend by a start at 6,000.
Thereafter it's going to be radar vectors, which it says on the chart up here as well. ILS 16 right is 11-3 for February 2022. Frequencies 109.5 both sides. Course is 155 both sides, and the minimum is 210. The approach starts in 3,000 feet at Erden. We have a 185 knot restriction there, and we have a 3-degree glide path down to a minimum of 410. Let's quickly request descent. One is 541, request descent.
541, start clearance 483 Alpha arrival, runway 16 right, when ready, descend by level 240.
Bonus 541, Borry 3 Alpha arrival, 16 right, descent level 240, if they're ready right now. Alright, so here we go. Right, so that's our arrival, and for the missed approach then, we're going straight ahead to 600 feet, turn right, track 170, climbing 3000. So, in here, 55 to 600, and then 170, 3000. So we're going to use flap 30, auto brakes 3, that's going to make us vacate the runway to the left-hand side, onto Bravo 7, left onto Bravo, and then all the way via Bravo to Domestic 1, up here in the north. That's it. Any questions for the arrival?
Descend by level 240.
Right, doesn't look like it. Very good. Then descent checklist, please. Pressurization, land out 0, anti-ice off, approach with fuel, disgusting, IS and outbox, checked and set. Descent checklist complete. Fun fact here, on the checklist of my airline it says approach brief and fuel discussed as answer. And since we are running really long briefings in my airline, some of us just jokingly replied disgusting. If you ever hear a pilot saying that, well, that's why. So, Blue Sushi is the virtual performance tool only for the 800. It also features a beta of the 700.
One is 903, runway 16 right, expect ILS approach, descend by a start at 3000.
American, might be a dumb question, no there aren't any. But what does it mean whenever the FMC says drag required? What action must be taken to remove that message? So, there are two different messages. So, first of all, drag required after waypoint so-and-so. That basically tells you that the airplane will need additional drag at that point. And when it just says drag required, then that basically means that in order to fly the VNAV profile that you have programmed, you must add additional drag. Now, drag can be added, for example, by pulling the speed brake, like this, or by, for example, slowing down and extending the flaps. But overall it means that the profile is getting too steep for the airplane to do it in clean configuration, so you need to get some sort of drag devices out. Whether it's the speed brakes or the flaps, or, well, you're not supposed to use the landing gear for it, but in other airlines you do. So if I'm talking to colleagues flying in other airlines, they're looking really strange at me when I tell them that we are not allowed to use the landing gear to slow down, because in other airlines it is definitely done, but in my own airline, the company says that we are not allowed to use the landing gear to slow down. If we're getting that high, they just want us to ask for extra track miles, for example, fly in orbit, or ask for delay vectors from air traffic control. Then, Shuri, how's the N1 set and speed reference not used? Basically that's in case you have an FMC failure, and then simply follow the instructions in the FMC fail checklist, and it is going to tell you exactly what to do. Niklas, is the physiology in Australia different than in Europe? Slightly, but the honest answer that even in Europe it is different in every single country. So most pilots at some point stop following the exact AIP of the country where they are based, and they just come up with sort of a hybrid phraseology, which just works in every country.
The island like runway 16 right will forward, that will
Then cloud action. Do the PMDG BBJ2s have 27K engines mounted? Yes, they do. Does it perform much better with 27K? Can the 800 have 27K engines? So, the 800s in real life can have 27K engines, however, I'm not aware of any airline using them. Many, however, have the 26K engine with a 27K bump option, and are using that. So, for example, American Airlines got it.
541 descend 10,000, tuning 1024.
Minus 541 descend, 10,000, QNH 1024. Okay, set altimeter 1024. Passing 27,600, saying 10,000, no flex, standby set. Alright, and how different does it perform with the 27k engines? Well, let me tell you that. If you take a BBJ and only load some 30, even if you make it full, 48 passengers, and you're going on a very short ride, like a 200-mile flight, so your takeoff weight is anywhere at 50 tons. If you go 27k, that thing is gonna skyrocket into the sky. You haven't seen performance like that yet. Maybe in a fighter jet. But 6,000 feet a minute, no problem at all. Then again, of course, you have to ask yourself how smart it is to do that. Because imagine you're having an engine failure if you are flying at full thrust in a very light airplane. You will have immense difficulties controlling the airplane. Lucky 67T, can we safely apply our 700 tutorials to the 800? Yes, you can. MG King, is there any other airplane than the 737 that you want to fly in the future? Yeah, I definitely want to try Airbus. So, and I want to try long haul at some point. So, for example, the A330 or the A350 would be very, very nice.
Block the 881 ready, descend for level 250.
DML, is it possible to simulate flap failures? At this moment, no, because the Microsoft flight model is just too messy to actually make something decent happen. But it might happen in the future if the flight model allows for it.
Velocity 880 when ready to descend flight level 250.
Lucas H, I cannot set my parking brake in the 737-800. Have a look at the tutorial that I did on the parking brake back when the 600 got released. I think it's called something like PMDG parking brake must see, something like that. Don't remember the exact name. Okay, and there was a question about the vertical situation display. So let me quickly talk about that as well. Vertical situation display is a very, very useful tool for judging the energy state of your airplane. Let's quickly talk about what we actually have in the VSD. So the scale is the same as your ND scale, unless you're in a max, then it is different, but let's talk about the 800 for now. And you get this blue area around your flight path, which is the so-called swath. And that is basically the area that is covered in the vertical situation display. So the VSD then tells you where your airplane is going vertically. So you have the white line indicating where your airplane is going to be, at what position, with the current vertical speed. If you were in vertical speed mode, it would also show a magenta vertical dashed line, which would be the vertical speed that you have commanded the aircraft to do. Then, of course, you have your restrictions. So, for example, here at Basra, or at Basra, we have to be above 8,000, and then on the waypoint thereafter, Buran, we have to be below 9,000. And your profile line is going to show you how the airplane is going to manage that. Now, don't be surprised, because the 737 does not show you where the FMC actually estimates to be at all points, so it only shows you where the airplane is actually going. So if it looks right now like we might be violating the Basra restriction by going too low, then keep in mind that we still have to reduce our airspeed, so we are actually going to be quite a bit above that one. What's most interesting though is you can see that white and the yellow thing behind that on the VSD up there. And that is your landing gauge. The white one is the 1,000-foot gauge, and the yellow one is the 500-foot gauge. Now, that is a very handy tool to figure out if you are going to be stable or not if you follow the present flight path. Another feature that comes in handy at that point as well is when you are reducing your airspeed, you have a green circle on that track line that you are following here. And the green circle indicates you at which point you are going to reach the airspeed set in the MCP. And if the circle is at the end of the vector, you are not going to reach it at all. So That comes in very, very handy when you're reducing speed on final approach. You want to know if you can make your landing gate, then just set the speed to that point, and the airplane is going to tell you exactly if you will make it before the gate or not. Very handy tool. Last thing here, which is probably the most important even, is the runway symbol on the terrain. So the terrain you can see over here comes from the GPS altitude, while the rest of it comes from the airplane altitude. Also from the altimeter, so from the QNH. Now if you have a different, incorrect QNH set, due to the terrain being GPS based, your runway symbol however being based on the QNH that you have set in your plane, the runway symbol might appear above or below the terrain drawn on the vertical situation display. And that is going to give you an indication that you have an incorrect QNH set. So imagine you're flying a non-precision approach, like the like an RNAV approach, where the complete vertical profile is based on the altimeter indication. And you have your altimeter set, for example, 10 hectopascals
is 903, runway
too
16
high.
right, clear to land.
Now what is going to happen? You will have a higher indication on your altimeter than your airplane actually is. So 10 hectopascals is around about 300 feet. And if your airplane is 300 feet lower than what it thinks it is, then on a 3-degree glide path, 300 feet equals 1 nautical mile. So if you have your QNH set 10 hectopascals too high, the airplane might fly you straight into the ground a mile ahead of the runway if you're following the non-precision approach vertical profile. And the only indication you have available in it is the runway symbol being placed below the terrain on the vertical situation display. So that's actually the primary reason why we have the VSD fitted in my airline, to mitigate QNH blunder error on non-precision approaches. Mustafa GT, so are there any major improvements on the 800 compared to the 700? There are, and I am going to show you these when I release my video on the changelog later today. Stig Harold Andreasen, thank you very much for the donation. Thank you very much. 22 Norwegian crowns, I believe, is NOK. Thank you so much. And Oliver Brodwick, can I show which liveries PMDG provides in the operations center? Remind me of that after landing, even though I might have to run after landing because I have to go to work. But I think we'll roundabout find the time that I can show you at the end of the live stream. And of course all the new features of the 800 are going to be ported into the 6 and 700s as well. Actually PMG has just released updates for them today, so head over to the operations center and you can download those. And I think they should include the sunshades and everything as well, even though I haven't actually tried myself yet.
The Waypoint.
Arrow.
Alpha Lima Echo to stand by.
Then, Christina, does FS 2020 have any way of having interior views with the ability to look the cabin around the cabin? I am using the drone camera for that, so I'm taking the drone camera, reduce the speed at which it's moving to usually 2 or 3 from the default 30, and then I can move around in the cabin like that. It's not optimal, but it is the right way to go if you ask me. Also, I'm still hoping that at some point PMDG is going to simulate the cockpit door opening, so that would then make it possible from the flight deck as well, but as of right now that's not the case yet, but we'll have to see. And 1 to go. HOTAS 541, request for the descent.
Qantas 541, stand by.
So now we're probably running into one of those issues again that you are going to come across in the 737-800 quite a lot. And the 800 is so bad at descending, so it's so aerodynamic, that it usually scratches the lower edges of the controlled airspace. That's why it might happen that our traffic control is going to keep you really, really high. And yeah, when you, in that case, all you can do really is, when you get the clearance to get down, get out your speed brakes, get out your flaps, and get the airplane down like this. That's also part of the reason why I'm doing so many videos on managing your energy in the 800s.
Echo, track direct, Harrow, flight plan route.
Are we able to get Harrow from the Echo?
Alpha Lima Echo,
So
no
I have released
route.
videos on that in the
Lizzie,
past,
Harrow,
and there are
flight
going to
plan
be more on that in the future, on how to manage your energy. And to me it looks like we're running straight into that at the moment.
Qantas 541, expect ILS approach from my 16 right, descend by star to 6000, do an H, stand by.
Qantas 541, expect ILS 16 right, descend by star 6000, stand by for the QNH.
Qantas 541, QNH 1025.
QNH 1025, Qantas 541. Okay, set altimeter 1025. Passing 9,800, descending 6,000, no flex, stand by set, and let's do the 10 checks.
Number
Fuel is balanced with 4 pumps on, lights are going on. Angle of bank 25, air conditioner pressurization 3.2 descending set, fast modes on, recall checked, and 121.5 is deselected. 10 checks complete.
Velocity 880, descend by level 140. Velocity 880, descend by level 140.
Shinko, how far out did I start my descent? I believe that must have been like 125 miles or something like that. SN1316, question about speed brakes during descent. Can you put them out quickly or all the way in one go, or gradually / slowly? You definitely do it slowly.
That's 494 to
In the simulator it doesn't really matter, because if I'm doing this, nothing happens.
494, contact me.
If I do that in the real plane, everybody's going to fly around from the cabin. The speed brake doesn't have a great effect on the rate of descent. However, you can get negative G-forces with it for a short while when you're taking it out and when you're stowing it quickly. So, you have to handle it carefully, even though it doesn't have all too much of an effect on the actual acceleration and deceleration.
Runway 16 left, when ready, descend to level 240.
Right, engineering is on.
Runway 16 right, and when ready, level 240,
I just see it has the auto position, so I don't need to actually put them into continuous. That's nice.
Qantas 494, star clearance service 3 arrival, runway 16 left, when ready, descend by level 240.
So you can see once again we're coming up very close to the cleared level, so I'm actually reducing vertical speed now to make the continuous descent approach, and then reducing airspeed to still lose my energy. So that's what I meant earlier on, that he's really clearing us very close up to the he's really clearing us very close to the lower limit of his control zone right now. But that's what you're gonna experience in the 800 all the time. By the way, this is the green dot on the vertical situation display here that I meant, that's showing us where we are going to reach the selected airspeed.
Qantas 820, clear to Canberra via the Docel flight plan route, Docel 1 departure.
And this dashed magenta line here is the vertical speed that I've commanded right now. So if I just want to command the airplane to intercept the glide slope at some point here, I could just set this down to match the 3-degree path that we have drawn up here.
Qantas 820.
And that is going to get us straight down onto the glide. Well, let's reduce the speed even further. But yeah, now you basically end up asking ATC all the time, request further descent, request further descent.
Qantas 541, descend via start at 3000 from Erding, cleared ILS approach, runway 16 right, report established.
Qantas 541, descend 3000 via the star from Erding, cleared ILS 16 right, well good. Alright, so now we can go down and we can speed it up again, but we're almost at the decel point. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to keep the speed at 220, I'll get the flaps out a tiny bit earlier. And this is just the point where you as the pilot have to manage your energy. We can see now we are below the glide slope already, and there is no sense accelerating anymore, just to decelerate when we reach the decel point here. So, no, it just comes down to good judgment on the side of the pilot. Basically, if you're flying 220 knots and the glide slope is coming in like half a dot above, that's a good point to extend the first flap, because then you are going to parallel the glide slope and get out flaps 5. You're going to lose the glide slope again a little bit to the below, so you can reduce your airspeed, and that way you can sort of intercept the glide slope in a very nice manner, even without the use of VNAV. I'm going to show you what that's going to look like right now on this very approach. So you can see we're basically paralleling the glide slope right now. It's staying more or less constant at a dot and a half. And I tend to say we're doing 220 knots right now, so at 15 miles roundabout we can start reducing our airspeed and then fly the airplane into the glide by speed reduction. And I'll show you how that's going to look like in a moment. Before we do it, however, let's say the cabin signal has been received, it's secured, and it's 11 degrees, we can put the anti-ice off. Let's quickly do a frisk check as well. So we have frequencies 109.5, that's set active in both radios. Rings are around runway 16 right, 10-4, addons, India, Kilo, Sierra on both sides, standby instruments are set, course is 155, approach checklist. Altimeters and instruments, cross-checked, approach aids, checked and set, approach checklist complete.
One is 498, contact me 129 8
Right, so we're around about 15 miles out now, so let's start our speed reduction, and we'll just pull the airplane into the glide slope now from here. Also a route direct to Erden to establish ourselves on the final approach. So, flaps 1. And now let's take the speed back, and we'll establish our... And now we'll just pull the speed out until we are going to capture the glide slope. Approach mode is armed as well.
498.
So you can see, even without the use of VNAV, it's possible to establish the plane very, very nicely on the final. So keep in mind where the speed restriction marks 185 knots at Erden, and we're just about keeping it very nicely. We have glide slope capture already, 3,000 feet for the missed approach is set. Localizer capture, runway heading 155. And the 800 has got so much energy due to its higher mass that the speed is going to stay almost constant and will just very slightly reduce on our final approach. So we should be able to fly the vast majority of the approach now with the engines in idle thrust. I've shown you this in my tutorials with the 700 earlier already, but in the 800 you can really see this effect take place. Of course, a headwind of 18 knots here is kinda reversing that effect again, because we will need a little bit of thrust due to the headwind, but that's really it.
Via stage of flight level 320.
HOTAS 541 established.
Qantas 541, runway 16 right, clear to land.
Runway 16 right, clear to land, Qantas 541. Right, so now due to the headwind we're needing a little bit of thrust here to keep our airspeed, but without the headwind we really wouldn't need that. Also note the high speeds that flaps 5 is going to give us, so we're running around 170 knots here on our way down the ILS.
Clear to leave control area to 30, no reported off. 102, Alpha Lima Echo.
Very noted.
Alpha Lima Echo 10, QNH 1028 and control services terminated.
Alpha Lima Echo. Plus 198, leaving 330.
Qantas 498.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for landing.
Velocity 841, standby. Velocity 880, send via start of 6,000, QNH 1028.
Speed brake on.
Velocity 800, repeat that, sorry.
Yeah, glitching on so I can put those on already.
6,000, QNH 1028. Velocity 841, clear to Sydney via the Docel flight finder out, Docel 1 departure, runway 27, climb via SID to 5,000, squawk 3662, and departure.
And gear down, flap 15. Landing checklist. Start switches, continues, recall, checked, speed brake, on, green light, landing gear, down 3 green, auto brakes, 3 sets, holding in flaps. Oh, flaps 30. Let's take a couple knots extra for the headwind that we have here. 1000's checked. So, flaps 30, 30 green lights, landing lights on, landing checklist complete.
Velocity 841.
Oh, a little bit of rain even.
494, maintaining throttle 2.
Qantas 494, descend 10,000, QNH 1028.
The 10,000, QNH 1028, constant.
Bay 20, Bay Charlie, Bay,
Qantas 820, push and start cruise.
push period, Qantas 820.
500.
500 continue.
Center, Qantas 561, flighable 380.
Qantas 561, moment center, good day.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Velocity 880, descend 3,000.
Descend 3,000, velocity
For speed brake up, thrust goes normal. Manual braking.
Qantas 561, left flighable 380.
And that's our exit.
Qantas 561, start clearance available.
Go ahead, Qantas 561.
Qantas 561, start clearance 483 Alpha arrival, runway 16 right,
Right,
ready,
no longer
descend
need
flight
this.
240.
483 Alpha, 16 right, flighable 240, Qantas 561.
Qantas 541, runway vacated. We are parking in domestic 1.
Qantas 541, taxi Bravo, shots runway 25
Taxi Bravo and Trust Runway, Qantas 541. Alright, so here we are. Welcome to Sydney.
Velocity 880.
So we set our Bravo, so basically we're just going straight out all the time. With the taxi routing understood, let's clean up our airplane. By the way, I'm probably going to fly the Qantas plane a little bit more often in the future, because I just love all the options that it has. Auto start switches, pulsing landing lights, head-up display and everything. So we clear the chassis set, clear left and right. So that seems like it's really a well-equipped airline. I wonder why Qantas is actually ordered all those options, but if anybody of you knows in the comments there, do let me know, please.
Qantas 494, descend 10,000, QNH 1025.
Send 10,000, QNH 1025.
Christina, why is the trim wheel moving at different speeds? That's because if the flaps are extended, it is moving at a different speed than if the flaps are retracted. So this is the speed when you have the flaps retracted, and when you have them extended, it runs at approximately twice the speed. That's to make it easier for the pilot to adjust for the different trim changes that apply when you are configuring the airplane and changing the speed on approach versus flying the airplane in normal flight with the flaps retracted.
Qantas 498, QNH 1025.
1025, Qantas 498. Qantas 801 Charlie requesting IFR clearance to Sydney with
So guys, let me know in the comments below. This is the first time I'm doing a live stream at this time of the day. Do you want me to do it more often at this time, or do you prefer me doing it late in the evening European Central Time, as I used to do all the way before? I'm absolutely amazed by the number of you who are actually watching the stream right now. So I'm wondering if there actually is an audience at that time of the day. Because my channel analytics here on YouTube tell me that my audience would basically be offline around now. That's why I never did it before, but looks like that a lot of you are actually very interested in this time.
Qantas 871 Charlie cleared to Sydney by the Docel flat turned out. Docel 1 departure, runway 27, climb by a SID to 5,000, squawk 325.
Okay, let's save a little bit of fuel. Engine 2 shut down. And engine 1 is going to be all we need to actually get in here.
3251, and what was the departure route again? Qantas 801 Charlie.
That's electrical, source of 2, drive 2, both associated.
GoSo 1 departure, Qantas 801 Charlie.
You can see the 800, it's a little bit harder to taxi in single engine taxi than the 6 or 700s, but it still rolls very, very nicely. So single engine taxi is perfectly possible in it. Basically, now that we've reached a good speed on the apron, we can just put the engine to idle and we're more or less going to keep it. Lose the speed slightly, of course, but for the rest of our way into the gate, this should be more than sufficient.
Qantas 495, stand domestic for Sydney, the Melbourne request clearance, please.
Alright, then the next gate is going to be ours, next to the A320 over here. So, here we go. Basically, in a tight turn, I would always add a little bit of thrust when you're doing single-engine taxi, because that just keeps the inertia off the plane. And lovely GSX jetways over here. Well, let's see what GSX is going to do. Now I don't care anymore if it's going to break the tires.
474, start clearance, rivet 3 arrival, runway 16 right, 1 ready, descend flight level 240.
Alright. APU should be available any seconds. Yep.
Qantas 495, Bay domestic.
Right, so gonna leave that ATC frequency so that we have a little bit of silence once again. And let's do the full shutdown as we are basically about done. And we have 20% on engine 1 and 2. Shutdown checklist. Fuel pumps, 1 on. Electrical, APU, fasten belts, off. Window heat, off. Probe heat, auto. Anti-ice, off. Electric hydraulic pumps, off. Voice recorder, auto. Air compacts, off. Engine bleed, on. APU bleed, off. Exterior lights, set. Start switches, auto. Speed brake, down detent. Flaps, up and light. Parking brake, set. Start levers, cut off. Weather radar, off. Transponder, 2000 standby. CBRCB is in, and the cockpit door can be about unlocked. So, thank you everyone for joining. I hope that you have enjoyed this flight today. And if you did, let me know in the comments what you think. What's your first experience with the 737-800? Do you like it? Do you think there should be stuff changed? And
the boarding requested.
Also let me know if you're using GSX, how you like that one. Even though the results are probably not going to be as positive as for the 800, I guess. But, why is that thing not moving its own jetway? You've created that one, mate. Use it. Oh well. Alright, by the way, guys, that clock chime that you hear from time to time is from my home. Not a lot I can do about it. Alright, so, I told you earlier on that I don't have that much time left. So I'm just going to quickly answer a couple of the last questions, and then I unfortunately have to quit the stream already. So somebody asked earlier on if I could show the...
Passengers deboarding starting.
Somebody asked if I could show the liveries that are coming with the 737. So here you are. We have Aeromexico, Air China, Alaska Airlines, thrice, American Airlines, thrice, All Nippon, Comair, which is basically the British Airways livery, but operated in South Africa. Then we have Delta Airlines, Flair Airlines, KLM, Mango Airlines. Man, I want to eat a mango now. Norwegian Air Shuttle, Pegasus, Qantas, Ryanair with all its subsidiaries. Scandinavian, Southwest, Sunwing, Swoop, United, and WestJet. Now for the BBJs, we have Gamma Aviation and 737-2 Aviation. For the BCFs, we have ASL, FedEx, both operated by ASL and operated by West Atlantic. Then we have Prime Air, operated by ASL, and Prime Air, operated by Southern Air. And finally, for the BDSF, we have DHL, operated by iAero Airways. So these are the liveries that we have available, and do note that there are already some great liveries available for the 737. I can very much recommend you to check out Steve Drawback's videos, Steve Drawback's liveries. He has even painted the cabin, so very, very much recommendable. He even has correct seats in the cabin. And he's done TUI and Transavia so far, and I believe a couple more even. And SN1316 are those passengers? Yeah, no comment. I have configured the 800 in GSX before, but for some reason it didn't save it when I restarted my simulator. And now they are once again leaving through the cockpit rather than... Well, let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it. You guys know my opinion on GSX by now, do you? Alright, so... Guys, thank you very much for being with me today. I have to prepare to get ready to work now, because I've got a real-life flight to do. So, see you around in the coming days, I hope. And until then, I will have the video on the changelog around in the future. And if you really want to support the channel, consider a subscription. And there is a donation link available in the video description below for buying me a coffee. So... if you want to support the channel, that's the way to go. I very, very much appreciate those all the time, because they are what keep the channel running. Finally, Captain Riot, could I bring some 777 screenshots? Nope. That is, first of all, not even in beta yet, so I don't even have it yet. And secondly, PMDG will, of course, be the first ones to preview the 777 themselves. So, thank you very much, everyone. Hoping to see you all again very, very soon. And Turkish 777, post your question in my Discord channel. I'm going to give you a reply there, okay? So, thank you very much, and bye-bye.